Hello, how you doing? Oh, hang on a minute. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Hold on. Why is that not connected? It was connected a moment ago. God, I love technology. Smashing. There we go. Right, now that palaver's done. How we doing? All right? Drop a hello in the old comments box there. Let me know you're there. Give me some likes, give me some hearts if you're on Facebook, and if you'd love to give me a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, that'd be great. And I'm not going to say a word until I get some. Get a cup of tea, by the way. I ain't seen no likes yet. Come on, give us some. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Right, what a day. It's been a bloody good day. New client started today, so done first session with her, and it went brilliantly. Yeah, doing this. Forgot what I'm going to talk about while I'm doing this. What should we talk about? You lead. This is a Q&A. You lead. Oh yeah, phobias and allergies. That's what I was going to waft on about this week. And of course, if you want to talk about someone else, let me know. Yeah, allergies. Well, Chris, you can't cure an allergy because it's a physical thing. Well, if I had millions and billions of pounds to put into marketing, I could tell you. Otherwise, unfortunately, I don't. Whereas the tablet companies, if you has a proper name, my brain's puzzled anyway this evening, so I'm probably just going to be talking utter bollocks. So, yeah, tablet companies, obviously they want you to buy their tablets. They want you to live off them. And their sprays and their eye drops and I don't know, whatever else you can get, scented tissues that help you. But in its basic form, an allergy, like most things, the brain has made a mistake. But this mistake affects your immune system. A bit like a phobia, where it's an irrational fear. An allergy is a phobia, if you want, that requires the immune system. So when particles enter our system, such as cold and flu, the brain sends signals to the immune system and it sends out cells to destroy that virus. Does a lovely job of it, smashing, lovely. When dead things come into our system, for pollen, grass, whatever it may be, that comes into our system, it's supposed to send out a different signal for different cells to go and destroy it. When we get an allergy, what happens is the brain cocks up and sends the wrong thing to destroy it. That then gives us the reaction, the blocked nose, the swelling, the eyes, and in some people's cases, death. We'll get on to that bit in a bit. The mistake can be rectified. It can be altered. But also an allergy can be developed to get you out of something. It's because, let's put it this way. You're in a field and it's full of pollen and grass and whatever else. And your brain sees this as a threat. What's the best way to get you to leave that situation? By making you very, very uncomfortable. That's its job. You become uncomfortable, you move away from the situation. It goes away. You're supposed to be happy. However, you're missing out on days at the park maybe, or you're missing out on whatever it might be, barbecues at the family because you can't stroke the dog, or the cat's going to do your head in. And it can have a really big impact on people's lives. Like most mental health things, we sort of have that attitude of, well, I've got it, so that must be it for life. But it doesn't have to be. It can be changed, it can be removed, and it's usually done quite quickly. There are certain, I say certain allergies I won't touch, that's wrong. There's certain reactions I won't go near. If, let me move that down a bit. If your reaction is an anaphylactic shock, I'm not going anywhere near that. Because sometimes when we do the removal, it doesn't go right away. It may need redoing. And if you've just got a bit of bloating or skin irritation, watery eyes, and discomfort, that's one thing. We can put up with that and we can really go over it. If it's death, that's somewhat different. And I, unfortunately, don't want to deal with that. So, anaphylactic shock, I don't go near. Same with phobias, it is an irrational reaction to a stressor. The usual, the obvious, spiders, bugs, dogs, cats, whatever. And a phobia is either taught to us or it's caused by a traumatic incident or a mixture of the two. Let's say as a kid you were bitten by a dog and your parents grab you and make a big fuss of it and they sling you out the way and they're shouting and whatever else. The kid's brain has now seen, right, animal, pain, react that way. As they grow up, that's what they're going to do. See a dog, automatically, pain, bite, animal, same, react. And that's what happens there. However, if you're bit by a dog and parents just calmly deal with it and explain to the kid, if the kid had done something to provoke the dog or whatever, and explain to them what they did wrong, that has a different outcome. And it won't trigger that response. And then each time, what happens then is each time it builds up and builds up and builds up. And if you survived reacting that way, you'll do it the same. You see a spider, you shit yourself, you're all panic, you're on the back of the settee, all of that business. Where did that come from? Who taught you that? Why are you behaving that way? I mean, I sort of get it a bit more if you're living in like Australia or the Amazon, because there are some seriously nasty spiders there. But in the UK, I think it's safe to say we're pretty safe. Say hello in the comments. Let me know you're there. Let's have a chat. That's what this is about. If you've got any questions, let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. Although, as I say, my brain is a bit fried tonight. So whether it's an allergy or whether it's a phobia, and I do sort of treat them the same way. And I deal with them the same way. But to throw another spanner in the works, the issue is never the issue. And I want to know sometimes why you've developed this allergy. Usually, hi, you right over there? Usually, we are gaining from it. Okay, you have to mow the lawn every week. You don't like doing it, really annoys you, can't stand the job. Brain, I know what we can do for this then. There we go. No, you can't do it because streaming, can't breathe, all of that business. That's what I want to find out when I'm talking to people about allergies. Are you gaining from it? In fact, everything. When people contact me about my program, I ask them everything. Are you gaining from this? Because you need to want to get rid of it. You need to want it to stop. I use the same technique for many things. It's basically anchoring a new response in. It's getting your brain to have a different reaction to what it's seeing as a stressor. So you've got a dust allergy. And even though your house isn't dusty, your eyes are streaming, blah, 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 then you're blaming dust. What is it, dust? During the sessions, then you start telling me, about this issues at home and so on and so on. Now I want to know, is your brain actually trying to get you to avoid your house, your home life? What then needs to be changed there? Because going after an allergy like that, it won't work because it'll be something else. It'll be something else. It will never. We'll just be chasing. We'll just be chasing. What we need to do is find out why you're behaving like this, why this reaction's happening, and then we can change your mindset. Your job then is to go out there and change what's stressing you. It helps if people have already been for an allergy test and you have a piece of paper with things you're allergic to. Now we can work with that. Because some people is, I've got hay fever. When are you worse? When I'm near flowers. Okay, we'll work with that. Worse when I'm with trees. Okay, we'll work with that. I'm fine with dogs, but I can't be near cats. Okay, we can work with that. And that's why, like everything that I do, I like to make sure I cover all bases because of the issue is never the issue. Phobias, again, why? Where's that come from? Who's taught you that? Why are you behaving this way? I don't know what I got my earphones in for. No one's speaking to me. Let's take phobias then. Fear of flying. The thing with phobias is I don't see many people with genuine phobias because the fear itself is that bad. The thought of facing it, even in their head, puts them off. What I do see is a lot of people with very heightened irrational fears. But the things that we get phobias for, we're not meant to like them. Spiders, for instance. I'm not scared of spiders, but I won't go out my way to pick one up, or I don't enjoy them. I'm not particularly a fan of flying. I don't fear it. It's just a necessity to get me on holiday and back. Quite aware of the dangers with flying, in that I could quite easily go into the ground like a dart. But realistically, you've got more chance of dying going to the airport in your car than you have up there in the plane. It's because, for a lot of people, it's that lack of control. Another popular phobia I tend to deal with is dentists. Hi, Mike. How you doing? No worries. I'll have a look at that when we're finished and have a chat with you. Where was I? Forgot. That's Mike putting me off. Bloody hell. Tell me where I was. Give me a... Oh, I've lost my train of thought now. Something about flying. Oh, hang on. Airport. What about the airport? Dentist. Thank you, Matthew. There we go. Dentist. Right. One of the popular ones or common ones is a fear of dentist, fabric dentist, because it's an uncomfortable situation. It's something we don't want, metal objects in our mouth and people pulling and doing all this shit and drills, and we don't want it. We're not supposed to have it. It's not natural. Even though rationally we know it's good for us and it's going to help us and stop us feeling pain. But one of the biggest things that people overlook is the chair. We have a natural fear of falling, primitive fear of falling, right? When that chair goes back, that's it. We know that chair means going back. We're now going to be starting with the poking and the drilling and the mirror in the mouth and all of this business. That's what causes the distress. And we're sort of stuck because you can't move, because if you move, you might get injured. So you're sort of stuck there, just allowing this person to do what it is they're doing. And we know we're going to be fine. We know it's just an uncomfortable situation. But that fear builds and builds and builds. Some people have had a horrible situation at the dentist. I've only ever had one tooth out in my life. The pain of the toothache was horrendous, and even though when he pulled it out, it literally felt like he had his foot on my chest, crowbar in my mouth, and he was smashing the hell out of it to get it out. But that was much nicer than the pain I was in. Some people just go for a normal checkup, and I'm guessing, like all professions, there are crap practitioners out there who are a bit heavy-handed, and they might have had a really horrible experience. Now the brain's gone, well, that was a horrible experience, now I'm not going there again. But we do, because we need to look after our teeth and so on. That fear then becomes irrational. And it's a proper, no, can't go there. And some people don't. And they're in horrific pain with abscesses and holes in the teeth because they're too scared to go to the dentist. Needle phobia. Why would we want a piece of metal in our arm, in our vein, that's going to sting a bit and take our life juice, if you want, out of our body? Why would we do that? It's not natural. It's not normal. The brain doesn't understand it. Rationally, we know we're going to be fine. It's slightly uncomfortable. It's for the best. But that emotional voice, that unconscious voice, is telling you, no, 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 back it up. And it will stop you from doing what you need to do. Let's have a look at this. Where we go? Hi, Tristram. Isn't an allergic reaction inflammation? Inflammation is the white blood cells attacking whatever is deemed foreign. Do you remove the allergy or just respond to it? By removing the response, you remove the allergy. The inflammation is caused by the brain reacting. It's your unconscious brain doing something to your body. Your brain, your conscious brain now that's making sense of whatever I'm talking about, is only doing a small amount. Your unconscious brain is digesting your food, it's breathing, it's moving all your fibers of your muscles, it's doing everything that you're not thinking about 24/7, including the shitty responses, such as inflammations and stuff like that. Stomach aches when we've eaten something that's had an effect on us. I remember when I was going for my bulking phase, and I've always struggled to put weight on. I was on the bulking shakes. I used to make my own, so I'd get the powder in, milk, the whole milk, and And I'd had stuff like oats and that. It was like 1,500 calories, 2,000 calories a shake. God, it was miserable drinking that. And because it was miserable drinking that, I didn't want to drink it. I was forcing it down me. And I started to have issues. I love milk. Like milk, cheese, anything like that, I love it. I've always enjoyed drinking milk. I could drink pints of it. But when I was going through that, my stomach, it'd just be pain. And I stopped having them. And it went. And then I could drink milk again like normal. But I couldn't even drink a cup of tea with milk in for a while because it would affect me. That's your brain doing that. We have a scroll down here. As you know, I can't talk and scroll at the same time. In regards to phobias as well, and allergies. Obviously, when it's being removed, whether it be a phobia or an allergy, you're going to want to test it, which we can do. Cat fur, all that. What's happened? Nothing good. It happens. It's done then. I can trigger an allergic reaction in people just by talking to them. Family trigger their phobia just by talking to them. I see it sometimes with people and they'll be like, I've got this allergy and this, that, and the other. And I'm talking about it and I can see it. The skin's changing colour, the breathing starts to change, their eyes are starting to go a bit. And I stop it then. It's called spiking the emotion. I stop it then because I know what I've got there and we can work with that. But again, obviously, you're going to want to test it. And I always say to people, test it when it's safe to do so. When you're at home and if it hasn't took, you can go to the toilet or you can just do whatever it was you were doing beforehand to get rid of the symptoms. And then when we come back again, we'll re-go over it. Usually then it'll take again. It's a new experience for your brain. Sometimes it's have a reduced thing. Sometimes it'll be gone completely. I remember doing one allergy removal and I'd give up on it because the internet signal was that crap. I think she could hear me, but I couldn't hear her. And the camera was shocking, kept freezing and all that. And I give up on it. But I did it anyway. I think I was on there about 2 minutes. And I said, so look, we've gone through it. It was for a hay fever one. We've gone through it. Test it. Let me know. I said, look, we're going to need to do this again probably. She messaged me a couple of days later. She'd been walking the dogs. Allergy had gone. No problem. Lovely. So that's worked. In regards to phobias, I had a lovely lady once. Phobia of blood. Couldn't even see a finger with a paper cut on it without wanting to faint. And again, we're not supposed to like blood. Blood means hurt. Someone's hurt. They need help. They need, medical attention. We need that. Get that. Not fear response, but we need that. We do need a bit. We need that level of anxiety, should I say, to make us react in a correct way. Fainting is not a correct way. Being able to help somebody is. So we've done this and we tested it and that, because again, as I say, I can trigger the reaction by talking and test it at the end. Off she goes. I get a message about a week later. I don't think it's worked. Okay, what's happening? Well, I've been on YouTube all week watching car crashes and war scenes and whatever else, and I feel really queasy. So what you've done is by testing it now, you've traumatised your bloody self. You're looking at all these horrific things. You're not supposed to like it. I said, but when you came to me, you couldn't even look at paper cut. Now you can look at these horrific things which you're not supposed to like. I mean, now, if there are people out there who can look at war scenes and whatever else and not bat an eyelid at them, well, I can't help that. That's beyond my scale of capabilities. But you get what I'm saying? You're not. No, don't do that. Test it by all means. The idea of removing a spider phobia for somebody is so they see a spider, they won't like it, but they can calmly put a glass over it or pick it up, take it out, remove it, rather than, oh, spider, shit, and being a nuisance to other people. Let me have a... Hang on. So I've got my bloody... This is... Okay, I'll do. There's too many things that happens in there. Too many technology things. Anybody got any questions so far? Anybody want to change the conversation? This is your hour. This is your evening. We're halfway in. If you want to talk about someone else, we can talk about someone else. This is a chance for you to ask me about what I do, or if you want help with anything, I'll get some advice if I can. I've helped people with some weird phobias. Buttons. That was a weird one. Weren't expecting that one when I had it. Buttons. I've had somebody Halloween time, phobia of pumpkins. Christmas time, phobia of Christmas decorations. And I've put it off for years because they've says to themselves, you know, I'm stupid, this is stupid, why am I doing it? And they've hid it away, sort of thing. And you can't hide a fear response. I was like a couple of sessions, changed their life, done that. Let's have a look at this. Hi, Matthew. People who struggle to sleep. Not being able to sleep is not an issue, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of stress, basically. When we go to sleep, we process. Process all the shit of the day, the things we've learned. All of that processes when we're asleep. When we dream, that's what it's doing. It's converting things into images. Sometimes it might make sense. Sometimes you wake up and think, what a load of bollocks that was. Same as when you have a session with me. Some people are surprised about the images that show up. Nothing surprises me these days. But it's great to see their faces when they've seen fireworks or different colours and whatever else. But what happens then is, because there's so much shit in the shit bucket, the brain can't process it all. When we go to sleep, it uses energy. When we wake up, then that's when we feel tired, because it's used that energy to process. There's still so much for it to process. Excuse me. So our brain wants us to sleep again, but we can't sleep anymore because we're using energy, and then we're in that cycle. So we do the sleep cycle. We wake up 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Shit night's sleep. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Because we're knackering ourselves out mentally. By emptying the shit bucket, we get better sleep because it's not doing as much work when you are asleep. It can then process things that you want to process. So a better sleep comes from reduced stress. In fact, the client I had this afternoon, that's what she came to me with. Fixated on sleep. I want better sleep. I can't sleep. I need sleep. I know it's got nothing to do with sleep. Issue's never the issue. Why can't you sleep? The first session with me is always just a big emotional detox, a big mental clear out see what clears up itself before we then can start pinpointing things carrying on in the program. Even having a consultation with me the other day, she was a different woman that opened that door to me for the first time of seeing me, to who I spoke to on that, because she's already had 2 great night sleeps and she's been shocked about that. Because somewhere in her mind now it's switched. Her brain's now processing. I'll work with her and see how she goes on between now and the next session, and help her out if she needs help, that sort of thing. But yeah, sleep and better sleep, it's all down to stress. And here's a tip for you. In fact, I've got a video coming out next few days. 5 habits to get into, help you with a better morning routine. But the first one starts the night before. You need 6 to 8 hours sleep a night. When we go to sleep, go to bloody sleep properly. Turn the telly off. Keep your phone away. Your brain sees these as threats. It might be comforting to nod off when you've watched the same series 10,000 times, but that's what it is. You've turned it into your comfort blanket now. And but when you're asleep, your brain's still alert and it's keeping an ear out for danger. So when something changes, you're awake. The light changes, you're awake. You're not having a proper sleep. Dark room, no noises, just sleep. How nature intended. When I was a driver, my phone was a threat, because I knew that fucker was going to go off of a morning, ruin my daily plans. I hadn't been given a job the day before, so okay, I've got a day off. No, you got to sit by your phone in case you're needed. So you wake up every morning, 4 o'clock, literally now, anxious as anything about this phone going off. And that's what it is. Your phone isn't just a phone anymore, it's a computer. And this computer can give you messages, good messages and bad messages. But you don't really bother about the good messages, you're just anxious about the bad ones. Somebody not coming into work, that's going to affect business. Something's gone wrong. So on and so on. And that's what your brain's now doing. And it becomes fixated on that. Turn your bloody phone off or take it out of the room and go to sleep, as I say, as nature intended, dark, quiet, peaceful. What else was I going to say about that? God knows. That ties us in then somehow to grief. I've helped people, and I always say to people, look, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't touch your grieving process. That's your personal journey. That's for you to go on, whatever you need to do with that. Your life goes on and you need to do the things you need to do in your life. That's what I'm here to help you with. And I can do these wonderful things that help people with grief, but my primary goal with it is to get them living their life and carrying on. You still got bills to pay. Other people still want their money. And they honestly, they don't care that a family member of yours has died. Right, let's be honest. They don't care. It's not their job to care. Your staff members don't care. They've got their own stresses in their life. They've got their own issues to focus on. So you need to get back in the saddle quickly. Again, what people do then, in a way of remembering that person and getting through the grief stages, if you believe that's a thing. That's their personal journey. And each person is different. And sometimes I get that when somebody wants help with the grief process because they're not reacting how they've been told to react. And I couldn't give a shit how someone else is doing it. How do you want to do this? How do you want this to go down? What do you need? When we start doing that and we start getting that person on the right path, cope. When we cope, we're not burnt out. We're our best version of ourselves. We're confident and we can do things. We can function. And I have helped people who have had phobias developed from that sort of situation. And I can understand it. Knowing, I mean, when my dad died, you know my story, and I got PTSD, he died at home. And for, could be weeks, could have been months after, that smell just wouldn't leave the house. And I know it weren't there, but it just, there was a smell, that clinical, horrible smell, like just, that was horrible. And I could smell it. And I know it was all in my head. And I've helped people who have had phobias of hospitals and doctors and things like that because somebody's died in hospital. And it's that smell that's triggered it off now. They're too scared to go to get help with their health because of that smell. That smell means death to them. Obviously, our brain's sole purpose is to keep us surviving. But now it's gone into hyperdrive and it's completely messed it up. And this person was suffering for a very long time with this, and they know that their health was getting quite bad. And once that, how their brain perceived that smell and that sort of trigger, if you want, well, I went to the hospital, I got sorted, and everything was good in the end. But if they hadn't, who knows? And you need to make time for yourself now. You need to make time to get yourself better, get yourself, on top form, mentally, physically, whatever. Because if you don't, you will be forced to make time for your health later on. When you're on all manner of tablets a day, and like me, diabetic now, because I didn't look after myself when I was a driver. There are millions of people out there who've got diabetes and they don't even know it. It's quite shocking, really. And again, a lot of that can be altered by dietary changes. But how a person's eating and their relationship with food is having a huge impact. Boredom eating, stress eating, just comfort eating, whatever it might be. Eating to self-harm, that needs addressing. It needs sorting. Because it probably won't get better on its own. In fact, I'll put money on it won't get better on its own. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be sorted. My method, my way of doing things, some people can seem shocking, but some people need a bloody shock. I did. And there's nothing like being told you're diabetic to give you that shock. But now you've still got a choice. Do you change your life? Do you change what you eat? Do you change what you're used to or not. Well, here's my options. I still eat sugary foods. Of course I do. And I enjoy them. And I eat them as and when I want them, not because I need them. But most of my diet is healthy and it's high protein, low carb, and I've got control of my diabetes. If I don't, I could lose my eyesight, I could lose my feet, my legs, all because of what diabetes can do. Now I had a choice there. Good choice or bad choice? One is a lot of work. One isn't. But then, like I say, when you're up to your eyeballs on medication and you're in a wheelchair and your health has just gone down the shitter and you've got no quality of life, well, sort of makes changing your diet a bit better option. How I got on to eat food from there, I do not know. No, I can talk about anything, mate. So, has anybody who's watching got a phobia or got an irrational fear? Have you got a really weird one that I've not heard of? That'll be interesting. Right. Has anybody got an allergy? Again, a weird one. Be interesting. Because I love a challenge. Never shy away from a challenge. As long as someone's not going to drop dead in when they're next to me, I like a challenge. Well, I do love doing allergy and phobia removals because it is sort of magic. Mainly because there is piss poor education there of what it is. Oh, Julie. Hay fever. Lovely. Do you live in Australia? I thought it was all sand. Hay fever. Do you know what triggers it the most? What type? Is it grass? Is it trees? Is it flower pollen? Is it a mixture of everything? Again, when people come to me with things like hay fever, they just tell me hay fever, which, okay, we can do sort of like a blanket the thing and it'll hit it. But if someone can come to me with, here we go, like mock orange blossoms. I don't know what a mock orange blossom is. Is that a flower? And grass. See, again, one or two like that, that'd be easy to do. Because we've just got two things and it's about images in the head then. So we get you to imagine yourself having a different reaction. And because the brain doesn't work in words, and because the brain can't tell the difference between thought and reality, this reaction becomes your reality. And this new reaction is what we anchor into place, whatever it might be. Why is it called a mock orange blossom? Literally, I've got no gardening thing in me. If it's green, it's a weed. If it's colourful, it's a flower. And that's basically the knowledge of my gardening skills there. I just thought of some of them and I forgot. Oh, there you go. There's my answer, look. Because it smells like orange blossom. We don't get many orange blossoms in the West Midlands, Staffordshire. Not this bloody temperature. Freezing cold. Can't wait for the summer to come so I can moan about being too hot. There's too many things for me to be keeping an eye on this. I need to sort of get my eyes to be independent. I had a theory with my diabetes. And again, this ties in with the allergy and the phobia thing and everything I've mentioned before. I had a theory, and I still like to test it, in that I was diagnosed diabetic during the worst time of my life. The job I was in was killing me. The diet I was having was killing me. And I wasn't making those changes. And I've always said, and I always say to people, if you ignore your brain long enough, it will say, fuck you, have that. And it'll do something. Stroke, heart attack, whatever else. It could be skin conditions. It could be phobia, allergy. Right. My brain then thought, could it switch an organ off? Because I couldn't do my old job, being diabetic, because I couldn't even imagine having to stop every 2 hours to test my blood and stuff like that. It wouldn't happen. I dread to think the state I would be in today if I kept that job. But could the brain do that? Could it turn my pancreas off? So I thought, let's test it. So I spoke to people who I know can do these techniques and sort of do the same thing I do. And we'd done it and we tested it and we ran through different experiments and that, and nothing happened. Still diabetic. But then talking to my girlfriend one day, she mentioned to me that even if I could, I wouldn't. And I was like, yeah, I would. Like, I'm bored of carrying that round and injecting and all that. She's like, you wouldn't. Because when I was wrongly diagnosed as type 2 and I was changing my diet, I was miserable. My pancreas doesn't work. It doesn't make insulin. So I inject. So that means, a normal person's body, they'll eat a chocolate bar and their body will just produce insulin to deal with it. Mine doesn't. So I need to inject that chocolate bar. So when I was doing my diet control and I'm going out for a meal, I'd have to decide, do I want steak and chips or do I want something in a pudding? Because I can't have both because it'll send my blood sugars sky high. Now I have to inject, so my pen is my pancreas. And it's given me freedom. It's given me freedom to have more enjoyment. So when I do go out for a meal, I can have the steak, chips, jacket potato, and the pudding. If we're at a party and there's, puddings available, I can have some because I inject. If I didn't have that, my life would be miserable again. And I think my unconscious brain knows that. And it's got no intention of, even if it could restart a pancreas, do it. And again, so I'm gaining now, in a way. Because even if I went back to, let's say it did kickstart it and it boosted it back up and I was back to where I was 10 years ago, not a problem. Well, I wouldn't eat the same as I would then because I'd be living in fear of diabetes coming back. And I love my food. I am a bloody big foodie. When I go on holiday, it is about food. All my money goes into restaurants, street food, whatever. If you can eat it on there, basically. That's my holiday. So by not being able to do that, that'd be miserable for me. So again, I'm gaining. So now I've stopped trying because clearly I don't want to be back to who I was because it would be miserable for me. And this is the importance. If you have a phobia, if you have an allergy, are you gaining? Are you getting something from this? And the same goes for people with depression, anxiety. Are you gaining from it? Because if you are, what are you gaining? It's called secondary gain, but I call it primary gain because if we're gaining something, we're doing it for a reason. We're getting something out of it, aren't we? It's an interesting thing, and I love doing it. But I don't do many allergy removals. And it did surprise me. I thought when I learned to do it that am I back? I don't know what the bloody hell happened there. Bloody sky. Arsehole. Get it sorted. Saying I've got full internet connection. Saying everything was fine, but it just chucked me out anyway. Where was I? Right, here we go. Hello. Right, psychosis I don't touch. I can work with people with ADHD. And I treat people as individuals, not labels. But there are certain things I cannot help with. Doesn't mean I can't help them with certain things. I just adapt what I do to fit them. But yeah, psychosis, things like that, I don't do. Don't touch. I can coach people. I can help them that way, whatever else. But bloody internet's thrown me right. Yeah, people with ADHD, I can help. Got clients who've got ADHD. Yeah, so last 4 minutes. Next week, supposed to be my Hypno Hub session. To be honest, I've done a piss poor job of marketing it. But if you're interested and you want to have a go, jump on my website, go onto the Hypno Hub bit and purchase a ticket. If I don't get anybody on there by Sunday, then I'll be back on live next Wednesday. If you want to have a consultation with me, completely free, jump on my website, drop me a message via WhatsApp, get you booked in for a consultation. Anything burnout wise, have I froze now or am I back? Every week there's something. Yeah, go on my website, book in a consultation with me. I'm done. I'm starving. Let's hope next time we can have a event-free live where technology doesn't take the piss. Thanks for joining. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your conversation. See you again next week. Remember, if you'd give me a like on Facebook and follow my Facebook page and give me a like and subscribe on YouTube, that'd be awesome. And I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.